Somebody actually in a course that I just taught came up with 4 phrases to teach the 3 principles. Right? Some of you may have. I wrote about this the other week. Some of you who read my stuff might have come across it. And the first one is me too. Right? I have never had a client present something that I couldn't understand. I mean, I've had to ask questions a couple times. I had a guy who came to me who had a phobia of Jell-O. Like literally, if somebody came out to him with Jell-O, he like screamed. But I get what it is to see something and have an irrationally strong emotional response to it. Right? It just doesn't happen to be Jell-O with me. Right? My fears are rational. I'm only scared of scary things, like bugs. Right? Like, no, I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. You know, me too. Right? There is nothing that somebody is up against in situ, like in the actual how it works, that I am not up against. The details will be different person to person, absolutely. I will never pretend that I had it rough growing up. I did not. But I had it rough in my head growing up. Right? In a way, the fact that I could suffer so much from suicidal depression when everybody around me loved me and I was privileged, like that just let me know, well, it can't be circumstance. Right? And it's not to say that crappy circumstances don't have too. It's not to say that I haven't lost people. You know, it's just me too. I'm dealing with this too every single day. And I just, because I understand it better now, it's not so hard. I had a friend who lived in LA in '94. He's a friend of my wife's actually, and in '94 was the last big earthquake in LA. And it was the Northridge earthquake, they call it. And it was bad. I mean, a lot of buildings got condemned, and a lot of people lost their homes. And he was in an apartment complex that got condemned, so he lost his, you know, he's renting, but he lost it. And he also just lost his cool with it. He was from England, and he was like, people don't just die from the earth in England, you know. So he moved cross country, moved to New York. He said the day he got to New York, woke up at 1 in the morning, earthquake. He's freaked. It lasts about 15 seconds. He doesn't know what to do. He's like, how can this be happening? Gets back to sleep. 5 a.m., earthquake. What the, you know, totally losing it. Then 5:15, earthquake. 5:30, earthquake. 5:45, earthquake. And it dawns on him around 6 a.m., it's the subway. Well, once it dawned on him what it really was, it stopped being scary. It still shook his apartment, but it stopped scaring him. And after a while, he stopped even noticing it. And it was only when new people came to the apartment that they went, what is that? It's like, yeah, I live a little too close to the tracks, right? Well, that's what understanding does for us, right? Our understanding lets us go, oh, it's just that. Okay. That's fine. I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to think about that. So me too, right? Whatever it is that somebody's going through, you're going through it too. You're not going through it about the same thing. You might not be coping with it in the same way. But we're all up against the same thing, and we all have the same thing going for us, right? Well, another one. Oh well. Right? Stuff happens. I promise you. And you know, I might not say it like that to myself in the moment when I'm really upset, and I certainly wouldn't say it to somebody else in a moment when they're upset. But ultimately, hey, I'm sorry for what happened to you. I'm sorry for what happened to me. Oh well. I'm sorry that you did what you did. I'm sorry that I did what I did. Oh well. I always intellectually know it's coming from me, right? I've been doing this long enough. I've been, you know, in this day after day. Like, so I know the right answer is it's thought, right? It's not coming from them, it's coming from me. Doesn't mean I always see it. When I actually see it, I stop. And the analogy I've been using for it lately is, if I can see that my hand hurts because I'm slamming it repeatedly in the door, how do I stop? Well, you just stop. If you aren't quite sure that that's why your hand hurts, you might keep doing it. So it's the difference between, one of my students, Jamie Smart, had a great metaphor for it actually. He said, like, imagine a dog comes to you for therapy, right? I know you're not a therapist, but just imagine a dog comes to you for therapy, right? Or coaching. He comes for, let's say he comes for coaching because he's got a nemesis. And he says, I got this nemesis, and he's always on my butt. He's always chasing me around, and I want to get him, and I'm fast, but he's faster. And every time I think I've got a plan to get him, he outsmarts me. And sometimes I even sneak up on him, and just at the last minute he pulls away. It's like he can sense I'm coming. You know, so I need you to help me, coach. I need you to help me be faster. I need you to help me to be smarter, and I need you to help me come up with a plan to outsmart my nemesis. And you say to him, well, I think you're chasing your own tail.